and welcome to this week's Pilates class. So we get to start lying down, so I like to come down to the floor, and then we'll gently make our way down onto our backs. And then here I just like to take your focus onto your breathing, so we'll start with some nice deep breaths in and out. So with each deep breath in, we're drawing down towards the stomach, allowing the stomach to rise. As you breathe out, just allow your stomach to drop back down again. And then just like to take one more deep breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to take the arms overhead, where if we can, we'll interlace the fingers. We'll reach out through the whole length of the body, so we'll point the toes. Stretch those hands as far away from the top of the head as we feel we can, making ourselves as long as possible. We'll focus on those deep breaths again. And take a nice deep breath in. As we breathe out, we're just going to release that stretch. We can release the arms, and we'll bring them down to around shoulder height. And then we're starting to bring a little bit of movement through the neck, so we're going to slowly drop the head down to count over the right shoulder. And we'll bring it back to the center and out to the left. Now just gently take that head from shoulder to shoulder a few times. And last time to each shoulder. We'll bring the head back to the center. From here, I like to bend the legs, we'll bring the feet to the floor. Keeping those shoulders down. We're just going to gently lower the knees to the right, take them as low to the floor as you feel you can. Then we'll ease back to the center and out to the left. And I'll just like to slowly take those knees from side to side. Just bring that gentle bit of movement through the back of the body, easing the hips or mobilizing the hips. And then if it's feeling good and you want to add that little extra in, the next time we take the knees back to the right, we can try and take the left knee up towards the right shoulder. And then we can do the same as you drop the knees to the left. Right knee towards the left shoulder, but if that feels too much, just stick with taking those knees gently from side to side. One more time to each side. hold to the center. From here, I like to lift the legs. We'll take hold of the shins. We'll just draw the knees gently in towards us. We'll bring a little bit of movement into the ankles. I'll just like to point and flex the feet. So we'll draw the toes towards the shins. Then we'll push them away again. We'll add a few circles into the ankles too. So just gently circle them one way. Then we'll change direction. We'll circle them back the other way. And then we can ease to the center and just let those feet relax. We're going to release the legs, allow the feet to come down to the floor. From here, we're just going to place the hands on the thighs and we're going to start with some crunches. We're going to crunch up, sliding our ribs towards the hips, taking the fingertips towards the knees, creating some flexion through the back of the body, and then easing back down. So every time we crunch up, we're sliding our ribs towards the hips. As they're creating that bit of flexion, lifting the chest. We take those fingertips towards the knees every time we come up, and then we'll gently ease back down again. Now we want to look after the neck as well, so we're not tucking the chin all the way into the chest. We're keeping our eyes looking up towards the ceiling a little bit in front of us. If it gets too much for the neck though, we can bring a hand to the back of the neck or two, but we don't want to pull with the arms if we do, because otherwise we'll end up straining the neck and we won't actually lift into that crunch. We still want to think about sliding the ribs towards the hips and just gently allowing the head to rest in the hands, which I know is easier said than done. We also want to remember to breathe, because that's super important. And then if we do want a little bit extra today, we can lift the feet as we crunch up, reaching towards the ankles, and we lower the feet back to the floor as we come out of the crunch. Good. We got a few to go. Last two. And then we can have a little bit of a rest. We can lift those legs, hug the knees in towards us, maybe have a little rock from side to side, whatever feels comfortable. Then we'll release the legs, we'll bring the feet back down to the floor. We'll bring the arms down by our sides, palms facing the ceiling. Feet are hip width apart, so they're not too narrow, they're not too wide. We want to try and bring the heel as close to under the knee as we feel we can. And we're going to squeeze through the back of the body, lifting the hips as high off the floor as we can. So we want to squeeze to the bum and the back of the legs, taking the hips high, keeping them nice and level as we do as well. And then we'll slowly lower back to the floor. Then we'll just repeat this movement. So again, squeezing through the back of the body, lifting the hips as high as we can, holding for a second or so at the top before we gently lower down. So again, focus on those nice deep breaths, focus on that squeeze to the back of the body. We've got a couple to go. Last one. And then again, we can have a little bit of a rest. We can hug those knees in towards us. Maybe have that little rock from side to side. And then I like to release the legs, and we'll take those shins parallel to the floor. So the feet are lifted, shins are parallel to the ground. They want to make sure we keep that nice strong brace to the core, so the back's not going to arch and lift away from the ground. We're also not forcing it into the ground. We're just trying to keep it in this neutral position. To do that, we need to tense those muscles of the core. So we need to brace the abs and the rest of those core muscles. Keeping that tension there, keeping that back in a neutral position. We're going to gently lower both feet down, try and tap the floor, and then lift again. As we lower, we're trying to keep that 90-degree bend in the knee. We're lowering from our hips, lowering the feet down to tap, and then lifting back up. If it feels too much doing both at the same time, we can focus on one side and then the other. So alternate from side to side if need be with that single-legged option, or if we can, we'll stick with both. We keep that tension through the core, keeping that nice strong brace so the back doesn't lift and not forcing it into the ground either. We also remember those deep breaths in and out, because that's super important too. Always important to breathe. That's good. Two to go. And we can rest, so we can hug those knees back in towards us again. And then from here we can gently make our way to a seated position. And we're going to extend the legs slightly. We're going to lean back, we're going to come down onto one elbow, and then we're going to roll our weight onto one hip. Here we can either keep the bottom foot down and have the top one elevated, or if we can, we're going to lift both through at a slight angle. So if I roll this side for a second so you can see, so I'm on the forearm on the other side. This backhand is here as a bit of support to help keep the chest lifted. Then we're going to extend the legs and draw them back in. Now, if we're keeping one foot down, just focus on extending the top leg and drawing the knee as close in towards you. So we're trying to keep the upper body still, trying to keep that chest lifted so we're not hunching down into it. And so we've got our option for both legs or just one. That's good. Two to go. And then we can reset to the center. If you need a little bit of release, give those legs a little shake. Give the arms a little shake as well. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to come down onto the forearm. We're going to roll, either keeping one foot down or extending both legs. So we can, like I said again, we can keep that one foot down, keeping the chest lifted. This backhand here is for support. We've got two to go. And then we can gently roll back onto our backs. We can have a little release. Maybe hug those knees back in towards us. Maybe have that little rock from side to side. Whatever's feeling comfortable. We're going to gently rock up and we're going to roll over. So we're going to come around onto all fours. And then I'd like to lower onto the forearms. And we're going to sit up here with the elbow underneath the shoulder. Then we can take those knees a little bit further back. And our option is to keep them on the floor. We're drawing the abs in, we're squeezing the glutes. And then we're going to lift one knee off the floor and then bring it back down, and same on the other side. So we squeeze the leg as we extend it, but keeping that nice straight line through the body, trying to keep the rest of the body still so we keep the hips and shoulders level. Option is to lift the knees, and then we reverse the movement, bringing one knee down and then lifting the leg, and then the same on the other side. As you do, we keep that nice straight line through the body, still breathing. And stop and rest at any time. Still trying to keep those hips and shoulders level. We're not going to hold this for too long. And we can rest. So we can lower the knees to the floor. We can push the hips back towards the heels, release the arms out in front of us. And have that little bit of a release. And we'll gently make our way to a seated position. And that's the end of the hard work for today. We just got a little bit of a stretch. So here I like to keep the right leg straight. We're going to bend the left arm, bringing the ankle above the right knee. Now as we do, I want you to make sure you flex the left foot. By that, what I mean by that is we point the toes of the left foot up towards the left shin because it's going to help look after the knee. If it feels enough with the right leg extended, we're just going to keep it there on the floor. If you want a little bit more though, we can bend the right leg, bring the foot down. Still keeping the left foot flexed, and again, if that's enough, hold it. Or one more option, we can lift the hips and bring them as close towards the heel as we feel we can on the right leg, and then hold it here. We can take a deep breath in. As we breathe out, we'll gently release. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we'll straighten the left leg, cross the right ankle above the knee. Then again, keep the leg straight if that feels enough, but we flex that right foot, toes towards the shin. And we can bend the left leg if that feels better. And again, if we can move the hips towards the heel. Then we'll gently start to release. We'll bring ourselves to standing, but in a forward fold position. So legs are bent, allow the arms to hang heavy. Don't worry if the hands don't touch the floor. We keep that slight bend in the knees as well because that looks after our hips. And we're going to slowly make our way up to standing. One more stretch from here. We'll take a nice deep breath in. As we do, we're going to sink into a little bit of a squat. So as we come out of the squat, like circle your arms overhead, bring the palms of the hands together. Then as we breathe out, relax your arms, and we'll circle them back and down. We can do that one more time. Nice deep breath. As you breathe out at the top, just relax your shoulders and circle your arms back and down. Fantastic work, guys. Nice short Pilates class for you this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, drop me a comment below, send me a message. Always happy to hear from you all, but take care. I'll see you all very, very soon.